Hello everybody, my name's Jim and I am a professional plasticine player, and I thought I'd show you today how to make your very own stay-at-home hero. So here we have my guy in his splendid red suit, power belt, quiff of golden hair, and he's got a little house emblem on the front to say stay at home, so he's our stay-at-home hero. I've also done the same on the back there on his cape as well, so we put a red cape. Now you can choose any colours you like. You can make it a boy or a girl, it doesn't really matter, or even make it an animal, but I thought this would give you a good starting point to make your own stay-at-home hero. So I've gone for red, and I'm going to take 1.5 strips roughly to make a character of this size. So I've got red for his suit, pink for his skin colour, again it could be any colour you like, and some gold for the house and the belt and his cape, and then some black for the facial features. So that's all we need, and I've got some tools. I've got a pencil, some cocktail sticks to help stick him together, but you might not need that, and then a couple of tools that I use. But again, you could use pencils, paint brushes and all sorts of things as tools. That's absolutely fine. So I'm going to start from the very bottom of the character, so I'm going to start with his legs. So I'm taking half a strip for this, and what I'm doing is generally doing it in sections, or in fractions. So 1/3 for the legs, or a half for the legs, rather. 1/3 of the body is the legs, and then half again, same again for the body, and then we're going to do some nice simple arms. It's all made of simple shapes that we can then build up. So the trick is to get this as warm as possible. So you could use a hairdryer or get someone to give you a hand. It's good exercise in keeping your hands nice and warm. And we're aiming to make a sausage shape to start off with, a fairly long sausage. So what I'm going to do is move these colours out of the way for the moment, and then I'll come back to them as and when we need them, and it keeps everything a bit tidier. So you can see exactly what I'm doing. I'll put the black over there. So use your table to roll your plasticine out. Now you could use Fimo if you've got Fimo at home, or you could use icing and make cake toppers as well. But plasticine is great, or modelling clay is great for this kind of thing, and very easy to get hold of. So there we go. So we're going to make a long cylinder or a sausage shape, and we're going to fold it over, fold it in half, like so. It's starting to look like legs, isn't it? And what I'd like you to do then is start on the end of the feet to pull out the end of the legs, to pull out some feet. So we're just going to squash this around like so. You can make a nice pair of feet. Keep your legs nice and chunky, that way you don't have to worry about making a skeleton to go inside, and there's plenty of strength in the clay then. So again, working your way around the base of that sausage shape and pull out some good feet, and obviously make sure that your legs are the same size as well, so you can give them a pull around. Keep squashing it, make sure they are nice and flat on the bottom so they stand really well. And you might decide to have long legs, you might decide to have short legs. Again, you can play with proportions, that's absolutely fine. This is only really a basis for you to start to, use your own creativity as well. But I thought the house was quite a nice symbol for a stay-at-home hero. There we go. So you could make a little set as well. You could make some accessories. You might want to do a ray gun or something like that. Let's not knock our superhero over. There we go. And what I'm going to do now, at the top of the legs, you can see the feet there. Hopefully they're the same size. That's the idea. Okay. And what I'm going to do is then press the top of the legs onto the table and make a flat bit, like so. Give your hero, I keep knocking my hero over. Hopefully yours is a bit more stable, but there we go. Make a nice, strong superhero pose for your legs. That looks pretty good. So I'm now going to take some black and a smallish amount of this, and now I'm going to make a nice belt for my hero. But we won't worry about making a loop. What we're actually going to do is make a disc or an oval shape. You'll find the black is a bit softer, or whatever colour you choose. Could be that you want to go for a golden belt. That's absolutely fine. You could base it on your own favourite superhero perhaps, or your comic book hero. That'd be cool as well, or completely make up your own. So I tried to make up my own really, but I had lots of red, and I thought red is a good heroic colour. You'll see it on all sorts of different superheroes. So if you're a fan of Daredevil or well, lots of different ones actually. Show my lack of superhero knowledge. So I'm making a nice disc of black clay. I'm going to push that on the top of the trousers like so to make the belt. And then we're going to put a buckle on the front in a bit. But that looks good and heroic so far. Now what I am going to do is take a cocktail stick, and this is an optional thing, but if you want to do that to make sure your character is extra strong and stays together, if you get the clay nice and warm you won't need to worry about this, but put a bit of half a stick in there like so, and that will hold everything together. We don't want our superhero to fall apart. And I'm going to take this strip of clay and I'm going to fold it over like so and tear it in half. There we have it. And I'm going to warm this one up now. So get it nice and warm. The warmer the clay is, the softer it gets, and the easier this is to work with. Okay. So this might take a little bit. I might speed this a little bit up. Well, that really speeded things up. So I'm going to again move that bit of red out of the way for the second, and I'm going to start with a kind of ball to start off with for the chest. Now you could make your own design, so it doesn't have to be that shape, but if I start with that, and then if I roll my hands backwards and forwards like so, and I'm going to make a little bit of a flat base for where the body hits the belt, like so, and I think that looks quite nice, a bit like a marshmallow actually. So as I say, you don't have to make the same one each time, you can make lots and lots of different versions. So this one I'm going to show you slightly chunkier than the one I made there, but again, stay at home heroes come in all sorts of different shapes as well, so that's quite nice. There we go. So what I'm going to do now is take a little bit of black, and I'm going to put the rest there, and I'm going to make a small ball of black clay. I'm going to squash it with my thumb and finger. I'm going to make it into a kind of oval shape, and that is going to be my big belt buckle. So I will put that, oops, on the front there. I'm going to leave you standing. There we go. Let's put you back up. There we go. So that is our belt buckle, and I'm going to give my hands a little bit of a wipe. So you could use wet wipes or give your hands a wash in the sink if you like. Try and keep the colours as clean as possible. I've not made a very good job of that, to be honest. And I'm going to take a little bit of this nice yellow colour or gold colour. Just need a tiny touch for the moment. And I'm going to put in, even smaller than that, I'm going to put in the insert into the belt. So I've made a little bit of yellow or gold colour, and then I'm going to put that into the middle of the belt. So I think that will set things off nicely. Lovely, very happy with that. There we go. So we have a body, a belt, and some legs. Now I have this piece of red clay. So I'm going to tear it in half, and I'm going to tear these sticks in half as well. Well, into two separate sticks like so, and each one is going to be an arm. What you could do is do two separate arms, or you could do it together. Do you know what? Let's do it together. So let's take that half a strip and get it nice and warm, which I've already done, and squash it up. And even if you're going to use a strip as thin as that stick I've just shown you, it's best to squash it up and start again, just to get the clay nicely moulded together. And I'm going to roll it on the table, keep rolling it and rolling it and rolling it. And I'm going to make a long sausage, and this is going to make the two arms for our superhero. Now you could choose a position for your arms, but this way of making will show you how to put it on, and then you can have one in the air and one on his hips, or you could have both on the hips, or you could have them doing anything you like. So choose a good pose for your superhero as well. Choice is yours. So I think that's plenty long enough. So I'm going to fold this in half and twist it or tear it, or you can cut it, whichever way you want to do it. And I'm just going to flatten those ends like so. So you could have extra long arms or shorter arms. The choice is yours. But I think that looks pretty good. Now they might seem a little long, but they're better off long, and you can always cut them short later on. So I'm going to attach them like so. I'm going to join them on and use your fingers or a sculpting tool to blend them in like that. Okay, marvellous. There's one, and I'm going to fold it around and have it like that. Whoops, without knocking over your superhero. He's having a bad time of it. So let's put him back together. So let's put his hair back on, give him some dignity. So as you can see, we've got these nice long arms, and if I turn him around again so you can get a better look, there we have a view of the cape as well. I've knocked him over, so I'm going to put that one down like so. There we go, let's put him there. Let's make sure he's nicely stuck to the table. That's always a good idea as well. So I'm going to put the other arm on, like so. And as I say, you can spend a bit more time doing this than I am, but I want to show you quickly how to get all these shapes on. There we go, so moving around, smoothing it in, make sure it's nicely attached. So you could use cocktail sticks as well, if you want to be doubly sure. That's absolutely fine. Now it might be that I choose for this one to have one hand on his hips and then one up in the air as well. So I think that's pretty good. So I'm going to use a tool to slightly shorten the arm. About there I think is good. There we go. So there's one, and I might slightly shorten this one as well. So again, it's easier to cut bits off than it is to add on. And again, you can just tidy up those edges a little bit, like so. And there we have quite a heroic pose, I think. So I'm going to give my hands a little bit of a wipe again, because I've got lots of red on them. So we'll come back in a second. Great stuff. So once you're happy with your pose, we're going to choose I think we'll put a cape on, I think. And that is a good way of doing it. And then we can put the head on top. So I'm going to take some of this nice golden yellow colour. I might take half of it and we'll see how we get on. And what I'm going to do is move the body to one side, like so, and leave that there for the moment. And I'm going to take a nice ball of clay and squash it up. Roll it in your hands, get it nice and warm, and squash it around and get it as flat as you can. So you could use a rolling pin or a pencil or a paintbrush or something like that to roll it out, or like I'm doing, you could just squash it around. That's absolutely fine. So make it fairly thin, and we want a nice kind of triangle shape along the back, so it's a bit wider at the end of the cape, like so. And then what we're going to do is have a little bit like a kind of shuttlecock shape, really. Is what we're after. So you've got a little round there, like that. I think that looks pretty good. There we go. And just smooth it off. So you could use the wet wipes if you like to smooth it around, or a cup of cold water, or if you've got it nice and warm, it's quite easy to smooth over, get it nice and smooth as well. So I want to make it look as neat as possible, so I'm just going to neaten up the edges there. I think that looks pretty good, to be honest. Quite pleased with that. So what I'm going to do now is make, actually I'll come back to that, shall I? No, let's do it, let's put the little house on. So I'm going to make a bit of red, take a bit of red clay and squash it out nice and thin. And you could use any symbol you like really at all. So I've got it nice and thin to lay on there, and I'm going to take my tool, make sure it's nice and clean, and I'm going to draw out the shape of a house. So this is the roof, and I'm putting a little chimney on it as well, like so. And there we go. So there's one side. Now you could choose to have a chimney or not, that's absolutely fine. Lovely. So it's coming on well. So fiddly where the chimney is, you could put the chimney on separately if you like. I probably should have, but that's absolutely fine. So just make sure it's nice and tidy. And then I'm going to cut in a section on each side for the roof. So there's one, and then cut straight down. Like so. And then across the bottom to make the base of the house. There we go, so we can just have a little tidy up. I'm just going to neaten up those edges now. They might be a little bit ragged, so you want to make them as neat as you can. There we go. A nice house shape. I'm going to put that on to my cape. Give it a good press so it's nicely on there. I think that looks rather splendid. And I'm going to take the body and I'm going to put that on the front. So what we're doing is putting a nice rim around the cape, like so. That just makes it much easier to stick on as well. And then you can put a curl or a wave on your cape as well. So looking good and heroic. So just give that a little tidy up. There we go, not bad. Now sometimes you might get little lumps of colour in there, so you can always just smooth that off or cut those out using a tool. So I had a bit of grit in there, but that looks okay. I think that's going to be fine. So there we have our heroic cape. And again, it's always a question of balance. So make sure your superhero can stand. There we go. There we go. Brilliant. So what we're going to do now is we can add on their head and hands, I think. So I have some nice pink clay, but you could use any colour you like. I'm going to take off a piece about this size to make the head. And this is much softer, fortunately, so it won't take quite so much warming up. And I'm going to make a kind of upside down carrot shape for the head, but you could choose whatever shape you want for your head. You might find that you get bits of coloured clay in there from something else. You can just tear those off, smooth those in. So this is my version of a superhero, but you might have very different ideas as to what yours looks like. So there we go, a kind of upside down carrot, which we're going to put onto there. But we're going to put some ears on first. Ears and a nose, I think, is a good place to start. So make sure it's nice and smooth. And again, keep it as clean as you can. I'm going to take off two little bits for the ears. So I'm going to make 2 little round balls. I'm going to give them a squash, like so. Pop those on. Try and make them the same size, like that. And then you can sculpt those in. So again, I'm going to use a tool, but you could use a cocktail stick as a great tool actually. Or as I say, the handle of a paintbrush is really good. Something like that. I just lost my ear. So pop the other ear on, smooth that in. Work your way around, front and back, top and bottom, and just make sure it's nicely worked in. Just going to remove that little bit of red at the bottom. Otherwise he looks like he's got a veiny neck. Not quite the look I'm looking for. Brilliant, quite liking that. You'd give them a big heroic chin if you wanted to. So this is just the starting point for you to have a look at, really. I'm going to take a small piece off for a nose as well. Now you could choose your nose colour or shape and size. So I'm going to go for a kind of a carrot shape and then sculpt that in. So I've made a carrot and I've slightly flattened it. I'm then going to put that on the front of the face like so. And again, I'm going to smooth that in with a sculpting tool. You can just give it a squidge on if you want to, that's absolutely fine. You might want to go for a slightly different colour. That'd be cool. You could go for a round nose, a long nose like I've gone for here. Whatever you fancy really, it's your stay-at-home hero. You might want to make yourself. So you could look at your own face and make it look like you. So again, you could choose hair. You might have long hair, you might have short hair, so you could choose about hair. I'm just going to put a little cartoony bit on the top in a minute. So in fact, I might just do that now. So I'm going to take a little bit of that golden colour and I'm just going to make a little piece of hair like that. But again, you can choose what your hero has. So I think that looks quite funny. Sometimes it's just about making a nice cartoon shape. There we go. I'm now going to put some facial features on. So we don't need the pink for the moment, so I'm going to put that over there. We're going to come back to hands. So I'm going to take a little bit of the black clay. So I'm just going to move my superhero. We won't need a lot. And pop him on there. I'm going to put a little tiny ball of clay and then spread it out like so to make a tiny kind of smile shape. Now you can choose, again, choose the facial expression that your hero has. This is a friendly guy, so we're going to give him a nice smile. And again, 2 very small balls of clay for eyes, so I'm going to go for black dots. And you can push those on. So there's one. There's another. Try and make them the same size, or maybe that is a feature of your superhero, so that they don't have that. They've got different sized eyes. Maybe it's a superpower. There we go. I think that's starting to come together. And then you can add eyebrows if you want to, or not. And I think this one I'm going to leave without. I quite like him without. So we're going to take our body and our head and make sure they fit together. I think that looks pretty good. So what I might just do is put a little push into the front there and make a little bit of a socket for his head to sit in. Okay, like so. So you can be quite rough with it, and then you can just squash it and smooth it in. So I'm going to take that other piece of cocktail stick I had earlier. I'm going to put that in the top again. So we're using both halves, and then I can pin my superhero head, like so. Just give that an extra squidge on to make sure it's stuck on well. Looking pretty good, I think. So what we need now is hands. We need some hands as well. Let's just tidy that up in a minute. So hands can be very simple. You could go for fingers if you wanted to, or you can go for just a round ball, make it into a kind of fist shape. So for the bottom one, for the one that's on his hips, I'm just going to go for a round ball actually, like so. And I'm going to push that onto the end of the sleeve and push that on, and actually that's going to anchor onto his trousers as well, and that keeps it nicely in position. And the other one going to stay as a ball as well, I think. I rather like that shape, so there we go. And again, into a round ball, and pop that on the end. And again, you could use cocktail sticks, but I don't think you'll need to. I think that's absolutely fine. There we go. Splendid pose. And the last thing I'm going to do is make a little house to go on the front as well, that house emblem. So again, just going to take a little bit of the yellow, clear the decks a little bit, and do the same again. But you don't need to see me do this again, so I'm going to speed these bits up, and I'm going to tidy them up, and then we'll show you the finished superhero. So let's make sure we can stand now. And there we have our finished stay-at-home hero. Hopefully you've enjoyed that, and hopefully that's given you some inspiration to make your very own stay-at-home hero. So it could be you, it could be your pet, it could be your favourite superhero. But have a go and share us your pics as well. Have fun.